Does magic really suck in Grand Summoners? This is a question that I have been asking myself for the last few days ever since I did the Ritz video. And I decided I was going to go the extra step and really try to get a grasp and understand if physical damage is just the supreme king of GS and magic is just always pushed to the wayside. For this video, we are going to be talking specifically about magic, damage, and physical damage. Nothing else. One common misconception I see whenever people say magic sucks is the fact that physical damage has more damage buffers than magic damage. Even I was under this initial impression because it just seemed like that. There's no way we have as many magic damage buffers in the game as we do physical. Well, surprise, surprise, we actually almost do. We have a total of 11 physical damage buffers, and then if we slide on over, what do we got here? 10 magic damage buffers. So it's not the damage buffers. So let's look at the equipment, okay? How many physical damage buff equips do you think there are in the game? I'll give you 2 seconds to guess. Here we go. You're wrong. 61. Now, how many magic equips do you think there are in the game that does a similar thing? I'll give you 2 seconds as well. 51 magic damage equips that either buff up damage or reduce magic damage resist. And that, to me, doesn't seem like too much of a disparity. But now we gotta ask this question. How many of these equips are viable? And what do I consider viable options? The old reliables, the ones that everybody always turns to. They're some of the easiest buffing equips to use in the game, and they're very good no matter what. Let's go over the physical equips first. We have Nox, Older Toguro, Genos Vest, the Blaze Coil, Iris True Weapon, Dragon Knuckle EX, Angelus's True Weapon, True Velocity, Cold Excalibur. And last but not least, the Morning Star from Dark Lisa's event. Okay, all of these pretty solid. There's a total of 10 equips that I would consider viable options. Now, how many magic equips do I think are viable? We have Alma's Hat, Juno's True Weapon, Rosetta's Pareo, Victoire's Catsuit, Despair Vine, King Ghidorah, Melty Shoes, and Juno's Pareo. There's only 8 that I would consider viable for magic damage. 8 equips in magic, 10 equips in physical. That's still not that much of a disparity. But if you compare them all, it's like, okay, you know, there is something happening here that's clearly better. Like, if magic could get a similar thing to Nox, then it would be great. Also, if they could get something very similar to like Angelus's True Weapon, but for magic resistance, like, you know, there's a lot of lines that we could draw and be like, okay, you know, it'd be really nice if magic had this. But what does this all mean? Physical is a trendsetter, and magic is usually always playing catch up. There are a few exceptions to this. It has happened in the past where we've got some pretty strong magic damage dealers that broke the meta. But for most of Grand Summoner's history and how the future forecast is currently looking, it seems like we're going to stay on this path. But this doesn't really change much in terms of, is magic bad, right? It's the frequency that we get these kind of units. If you actually take a look at JP's last magic unit before Cosmo was Summer Lisa. And then if you want to go even further than that, their last magic unit before was Dark Rivy. And the Japanese player base went like a month without seeing a magic unit. It was like a month and a half or something like that, because Tokyo Revengers came out. Then you had the Ninjas return with Sakuya. Then finally you had Summer come around. They showed off the new summer units, which were Summer Sistina. Here's the craziest part. She was the first one to release, and the last one to release about a week or two later was Summer Lisa. 6 units came out that were physical before the next magic unit. It may just be that physicals are easier to make, right? And they possibly appeal to more people, and, you know, they're more viable in the long term, whatever the case may be. Who knows how it actually transpires in the developers' heads. But it's safe to say that the market is definitely oversaturated with physical damage dealers compared to magic, which is also the thing that made it unique back in the day, let me say. Back in the day, whenever magic damage dealers were coming out to the game, the things that was very appealing to them was like, oh, they're magic damage. Some events and stages would actually lock you out of physical damage, so you had to use magic. And I don't know, it's just kind of wild to me that that's a case that's happening at the current moment, that you're really only using magic damage dealers, or a full team of magic damage dealers, let me say, when you have to. If you don't have to, you're probably just going to be sticking to your Greys, your Saitamas, your Simons, your Urzas, whatever. So all in all, would I actually say magic is bad? It's a tough question to answer, but I would say it's definitely weaker than physical. If we start seeing more magic units come out, and more magic equips and stuff being easier to obtain, and also, you know, magic starts biting off of physical equips and starts getting some of that stuff, then I think we would see more of an equal level playing field, or possibly Magic would become super meta and super viable and would kind of just power creep all the physical teams. But that's all I have to say about this conversation. I'm finally glad that I'm able to get all my thoughts out there. But thank you all for coming out. It's been your boy P. Tell me down below what you guys think about the whole magical versus physical argument. What side you're on? Are you team physical, team magic? Or, you know, how do you feel about the whole situation? Do you feel that GS just needs to release more magic units, or do you feel like both sides are equally strong right now? I definitely think both sides have positive and negatives, and both can be successful in the highest levels of GS. It just depends on, you know, what you utilize. But thank you all again for coming out, and last but not least, don't forget to drink water.